John, talk us about Unilever. How much of a blow will this be for Theresa May?
I mean, it is a blow. I mean, the optics of it aren't great. I mean, she well, not she herself, but the pro-Brexit campaigners, made this big argument that when Brexit happens, Britain will be even more open for business than it ever has been before. Will be a place that companies want to come to do business. So, this doesn't look great on one level, but at the same time, it's important to look. There are some caveats to this. One of the big sort of part of the thinking behind this was the Kraft Heinz bid for Unilever last year, and I think that sort of sharpened thinking within the company about M&A and regulatory regimes. And if you base yourself in the Netherlands, it's much easier because of the takeover rules there to fend off takeover corporate raids and takeover attacks. So that's important to bear that in mind as well. So it's not just about Brexit. There were actually also interesting corporate business regulatory reasons for doing this too.
Right, but you could argue that actually now the UK, if Brexit happens, then they can choose all the rules in the world. So would they model themselves in something a little bit more like Netherlands?
Right, so that is, yes, that's a very interesting point. So, when Brexit happens, the regulatory regime for M&A in the UK will obviously be much more within, the competition regime will be obviously within the purview of the UK authorities. So it is something I'm sure they will be thinking about. Part of the thinking behind Brexit is that we can do our own, we can take power back, and we can make our own rules, and we can make Britain a much more attractive place for people to come to do business. And in fact, if you look at how Britain is sort of been wooing Saudi Arabia during the Crown Prince's recent trip, that's very much a clear part of their thinking. We don't, we really, Brexit will create a hole in the economy, and we, the UK authorities, really need to think hard about how we can sort of fill that gap by bringing more business in. So the regulatory takeover regime, I'm sure, will be something that everyone will be taking a very close look at once Brexit actually happens.